Okay, in the interest of the time, let's commence this session. First of all, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, actually now, and I would like to welcome all to this HR Conclave, HR round to discuss the various issues related with the hiring around the recruitments in the pharmaceutical healthcare business analytics space. The industry is growing at a very rapid pace. There's a lot of growth in this sector, large number of companies, including the large players expanding, mid-sized companies, and a lot of startups coming in this space. So in order to discuss the human resource challenges amongst us, we have today Dr. Nitin Shahbag. Dr. Nitin comes with the extensive experience in this space of analytics. He is the MD physician and he is the MBA in healthcare management. He has clinical experience and the non-clinical experience. He is currently working in the business analytics domain for the last 3 years in the forecasting and the business insights. Amongst us, we also have eminent human resources speakers with extensive experience in HR and HR specifically in the area of healthcare, life sciences, and analytics space. We have Ms. Chandni Sinha. She is the Human Resources Manager, Delivering Insights. We have Ms. Varsha with us. Varsha is the Human Resources Manager with Pharmax. We have Ms. Ahana here, and I is the Senior Program Manager at the Pharma Group. And we also have Pooja Cornelius, Head Digital Marketing at the Culture. So one of the minor changes, actually, Dinesh sir couldn't make it today. He met with an accident and I think he's fractured his leg yesterday. And I think he's going through a procedure. So we'll miss Dinesh sir, his deep insights into this sector today. And we wish him really, well, and so he recovers fast. I would now like to invite Dr. Nitin to speak about this industry and put this, in perspective. We are talking about the HR, in the analytics and the pharma healthcare analytics space. But before that, we would like to understand what the industry is, how the industry is growing, how this sector is growing actually. So, Dr. Nitin, over to you.
Thanks, Kamalji. Thanks for the warm introduction and good afternoon to one and all. So as rightly said, yes, so I've been in this industry for like nearly 3 years now into this consulting and majorly into pharma consulting, business insights. But my healthcare journey as an healthcare analytics, I would say it started long before that. It's been around 5 years there. So talking about this space, the bigger, broader umbrella here would be the healthcare analytics. So wherein now why is it important? Okay, so I would say healthcare has been one of the industries which has moved towards this analytics phase in the later stages. This started more with other industries initially. I would say healthcare is the last one to come in. So be it hospital, be it your medical devices, pharma sector, or insurance sector for that matter. And why? Because everyone knows about already like how data is important and what we normally do with the data. So it's basically helping us to make good strategic decisions, helping the companies to have a proper efficient mode of working, at the same time increasing their revenue, profits and all that. So it is not different for healthcare industry as well. So we did that. So healthcare industry, I would say we did have data earlier as well, but we were not using it to its actual potential. And also we were not exactly, we knew like how do we exactly use this. But now with advancement in technology and at the same time people learning more about specifically in healthcare industry, data analytics. So now this is kind of a business, or this is kind of a area where a lot of companies are coming in. Okay, so when we talk about as an healthcare analytics industry in itself, so it's a multi-billion dollar, no doubt, global. I guess 2021 somewhere it's around $150 billion $20 billion going around. By the end of this decade, it will be somewhere around $150 billion. Okay. And when I talk from the perspective of India itself, it is one of, I would say, second or third country overall who is driving this growth. Okay, because we are the country with a lot of human resource available for these industries. Okay, so that's one of a great opportunity where we can just get in and we can start working. Okay, so but at the same time, I would also say that within the healthcare industry itself, pharma is also one of the most important, which is popping up along with the hospital industry. There are a lot of challenges here, obviously, but the growth, if you look at the growth is so much, and the growth is not only in the form of, I would say, monetary or something. It's the growth in the form of the way the healthcare industry itself can change, because at the ultimate goal of us is to serve the patients. So that patient journey is something which we are changing and giving those benefits to the patient. And at the same time, yes, there is always a business opportunity behind it. There's no doubt in that. And looking at this opportunity, all the IT, I would say, those big firms, the big fours and everything, they have also started getting into the healthcare. Initially, which was majorly into your BDLs, business developments and all. But right now, they are getting into the business insights and everything, because there, there is a lot of scope there. So not only the big fours, the medium-sized consulting firms, then the startups, as Kamalji said. So there are a lot of companies who are coming in. So be it Deloitte, be it Accenture, be it your PwC, be it so mid-sized companies. There are, like, you have Novartis, you have Genpact, you have CS, you have WNS. There are many such, and there are smaller companies. We have Pharmax, we have Pharma Ace, we have I don't know. There are Axtria is there, Viscardia is there. So you can just keep on naming the companies who are coming in, and it's not stopping. So every year, at least I hear at least 2 to 3 companies who are coming in, and they are coming in like as a startup with full energy. They have good investments coming in. They are looking for human resource upright, right from colleges to the lateral placements, whoever are there already in the industry. So it's going right from, so this gives an opportunity as a field, I would say, for all those who are studying right now in their graduation and post graduation days also, because that is one thing I see as an opportunity, as an industry specifically they can target. Earlier, as everyone knew, we used to only think about, okay, there are few particular places where after your graduation or after your studies you can get into. So analytics in itself is something which is coming up as a education as well. So again, that gives you an opportunity to come in, and obviously, monetary wise, it's no doubt it's good for the companies. It's good. It also gives you a very kind of, I would say, a stable employment space, because if you go through some data sets and if you go through some reports, you will see that in all the industries and all the employment spaces, people who are there in this field of business analytics and all, they don't tend to change or switch the jobs from that domain. They might be switching within the domain, but they don't go outside this domain like in others you would see, like in engineering and medical and all that. But this is something which is more core, and which is more kind of a net family kept as in, so that people get opportunities as much. And as I said, there are many companies coming in, but with this companies, with the amount of opportunities, there is a lot of challenge, because you can say that the market can get diluted a bit, but you require at the same time the right resource for this. Now the main challenge in this right resource is to get people with the right skill set. Okay, no doubt every company wants to like eat into this huge pie of $150 billion as a forecast. So every company, whoever is coming into this picture, who are already there, the startups, everyone wants to be here, but with the right resource, because otherwise it's only a downgrading, it's a downfall for you. So to get the right person, that's the biggest challenge. And I have been into like recruiting for the last 2 years, I could say. So like I have been doing interviews and etc. So one of the biggest challenge I would see is, uh, first is people are not much aware of this entirely. Okay, so be it pharma consulting and what exactly we do. So that's one place where we need to make people aware. We need to have the colleges, we have to have all the educational departments who are working into this, make people aware of this as a domain as well. This is a part of industry as well. And at the same time, imbibe those skill sets which are required during your curriculum itself. Okay. So that's one thing is I would say a major challenge. Then what happens is, because you are not trained, you don't have that exact knowledge. So when these people come into the industry, so as a manager or as a person in the company, we have to invest a lot of time just behind training, just making them understand the technical part, that is because healthcare, so we need to give them the healthcare knowledge first, and then about the analytics, and then about the work streams. So that puts a lot of time and investment for a company on an employee just before we can actually make him start work in this domain. So again, there is this void is something which we need to fill in. So it would be good if we have people in the industry who can actually build that human resource, and directly when they come into the companies, we can actually get them right at the place where we want, just like other industries which are already well settled. Yes, I know that, to be very frank, this healthcare analytics space in India or abroad is not more than, it's still in its nascent stage. It is growing, and it is obviously going to grow, and there will be challenges. But yes, I guess this is forums like this will help us to discuss these challenges across multiple streams, and then we can come out and find a solution together. So this was what I would like to just introduce about this entire space and the challenges what we have been seeing while recruiting people.
Thank you, Dr. Nitin. Thank you for putting this in perspective. You're right. I mean, we being a part of this industry as a knowledge partner, as a recruitment partner, we definitely are contributing. Just to put this quick background about Cliniminds, we as a training organization operating since 2004, purely working in the life sciences, pharma, healthcare sector. We provide several skilling professional training programs in the area of clinical trials, pharmacovigilance. Business analytics is one of the important areas we entered about 3 years back. We offer the extensive, trained workforce solutions in the business analytics space with the students with the skill sets in forecasting, market research, HEOR, all these areas we well covered in our program. And so in order to discuss this further, I would now perhaps go back to panel, and Dr. Shanbag, you're free to please share your views as well on the different topics which we are going to discuss as a next step. So I have some questions from the panel today. So probably starting with, then we'll start with, probably keep this way. We'll start with Chandni, we'll start then Varsha, Hana, and Pooja, because that's the name order I have. There is no, priority or seniority there. So this is the order names I have. So starting with Chandni, where do you see, what are the challenges you face actually while recruiting the right candidates for the business consulting or the analytics in the pharma healthcare space? So what are the challenges you face actually? You need to unmute maybe. Yeah, Chandni, you need to unmute. Chandni, can you hear us? Varsha, in the meantime, you would like to speak?
Yes, sure, Kamalji. Thanks for the introduction, and thank you, Nitin, for the wonderful introduction about the industry as such, because a lot of us are still getting to know the industry and what it has to offer to us as an HR people, and also to the candidates. So let's begin looking at the challenges. Sorry. Yeah. So looking at the challenges that we as an HR people face in the industry while we are hiring, there are many. So to start with, I would say we have, first of all, we have challenges of the pool being very narrow and short, small. So because I feel this entire industry started around 10 to 15 years ago, meaning the real pharma healthcare analytics started 15 years ago. That's where when we started hiring people from non-pharma, non-healthcare backgrounds, then we realized that it would be great to have people with pharma and then groom them or build their skills in get them some technical skills and then get started with the projects. That's how it all started. So today if you look at the pool, it's still narrow, I would say, because there are not many who come with pharma domain experience and also having this technical skill sets with them. Second being the pay skills. Of course, the pay skills are just rising day by day, and it is difficult for a regular medium-sized company to kind of match with the competitors who are multinationals now and yet recruit the right talent and bring in the right people for doing the consulting work. Next, I would say the most important one would be making decisions. Again, like, going back, whether to hire domain people, people from healthcare background, or not to hire, because there are a lot of them now, engineers available who are readily, who can do this consulting work too. Of course, there is a little bit of hand-holding required. They do need to get some amount of training, but I still feel that the pool can be kind of widened by bringing them in, but it's not have happened completely. If you see, like a typical conventional pharma consulting company like us, we still would want to hire a person from pharma having technical skills, VBA, Excel, Power BI skills. That's our conventional approach. But for that, we need to kind of open up our minds and start looking a little broader, I feel. So I feel these are the main challenges for us. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, Varsha. Ahana, your views on this question?
Thank you, Kamalji. Like Varsha and Nathan mentioned, right, the scope of this industry is growing. The CAGR, globally is high. So you have a lot of demand coming from even, MNCs abroad and channelizing to India for demand in pharma analytics and healthcare analytics. Now, I feel that the set of skills that required are mostly, domain-based skills, that is your functional skills, pharma knowledge, your technical skills, they have to be technical adept, as well as they need a little bit of business skills also. Without them, I do not think the combination of all these three are very important to, amongst all the, categories of hire that is there. So be it your forecasting people or data scientists, they have to have a mix of these skills in a proportion. So that kind of exposure is always good for the companies. So they would love to hire someone who has pharma knowledge, technical skill, as well as understand the business case they are analyzing or they have to give the result to. So once you find this kind of candidate, you do not want to let him go. And that's another problem. When you have the right skill set and the demand is high, so you have to retain that talent, upskill that talent. So yeah, offering that is also one of the challenges for companies. So from hiring the right people, keeping the right people, and always motivating the right people with the next buy-in. So that is again one of the things that HR people mostly struggle. So be it campus hiring, you have to get fresh talent which has some acumen, a combination of both aptitude as well as aptitude. They should apply themselves at the right scenario. So getting all this in place is the biggest, I think, challenge when you are hiring talent in this kind of a very niche domain and growing.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks a lot. And Pooja, your perspective on this?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much, Kamalji. I think it's a fantastic, platform to express the views. Although I work in the digital marketing domain, I've had a very close stint in terms of pharmaceutical analytics hiring with one of the organizations called Pharma. Now, I think one of the biggest challenges that we've faced is, and I think most of the esteemed panelists have covered the points. But it is very important to understand that the talent pool itself is very small. You don't find people with the same kind of skill set, like very rightly said by Hannah, that aptitude, attitude, skill sets, that kind of confidence, everything to find in one person is kind of difficult, and to hold on to that person, retain that person is again a challenge in itself. Now, we find a lot of people with great technical skills, but what we sort of are missing at all platforms and at all levels is something to do with soft skills. And coming from a training background, I understand that it is also a very important skill that needs to be nurtured, that needs to be given to a candidate while they are sort of working in an organization. Um, Although I've seen in my personal experience that there are candidates who are fantastic individual contributors. But when it comes to team management, when it comes to working with other people in a team or cross team functionality, that's one of, again, the biggest challenges that, even I have seen, where coordination is something that, needs to be a game everywhere. So that is one. Finally, this might not be a very relevant thing, but if you see, when somebody resigns from a certain organization, the notice period itself is so huge. The time period is so much, like 3 months of notice period. There's so much of window shopping that a person can do. You may or may not be able to retain that top talent, even if you were the first person to give that person an offer letter. So there are challenges, whether you're talking about campus hiring, whether you're talking about lateral hiring. I think the overall understanding of how will you make sure that the top talent is coming to your organization, you are retaining that talent, you are nurturing that talent, and at the end of the day, you are making them, upskilling them in a manner that even if they start from scratch, how they are going to go up the ladder. So their career development and progression understanding from an organization's perspective as well as the candidate perspective is very important. So I feel these are some of the top challenges that I have personally faced while I've been recruiting. And Nitin and I go a long way back, right? When it comes to campus recruitment, even with respect to talent, acquisition or the lateral side. And jokingly or being very serious at times, we have faced that kind of crunch, and it's not easy, right? And I mean, we have to sort of maintain those number of people within the organization, have that kind of talent pool coming in every now and then, because the demand is increasing. We've got the work, but who's going to do the work if we don't have the right set of people to do it, right? So that's something that I will add to all the already amazing points that all our panelists have made.
Thank you, Pooja. Thank you so much. And actually, I'm deviating from the our agenda points, but yeah, this point which you brought about this 3 months notice period,
Yeah.
uh, we feel being in the again in the as an organization, human resources and the training and the recruitment space, we feel this is hurting industry. This 3 months notice period, we often discuss this thing, and this has actually increased the shopping amongst the candidates. Amongst the candidates, we feel that the moment they get one offer, they start shopping for
Yeah.
the more jobs. Once they put in their resignation, they start shopping for the more. And you're not sure whether the candidate you have hired is going to join you actually.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, Kavalji, sometimes it's a shocker because you are well prepared. You think of a team structure. You have already placed that candidate, and you know that he or she is going to be there to help you sort things out. And suddenly, about a day or two prior, they say, "Okay, you know what? We've got a better offer. So can you match it for us?" I mean, there will be certain kind of arm twisting, and I'm not blaming anybody over here. Please don't misquote me. It's obviously you would want a better offer, you would want a better system to work, you would want an employer to give you all the kind of facilities and benefits. But what hurts is at the end of the day, the cost of hiring versus the cost of retention is something that you need to look at. It's a very expensive space. If somebody is not being able to join, the process starts all over from scratch, from ground zero, and then you're investing all over again, not only with money, with time, energy, and resources. So I think it's something that you rightly said, that it's hurting industry very, very badly.
Exactly. So I hope at some stage, collectively the human resources and the top management, start looking into this issue of 3 months notice period. I mean, we regularly, face the issues related with this challenge. So I think taking the clue from you and Dr. Nitin and Ahana earlier about the campus hirings, all of you have been involved into the hiring from the campuses. And I think you mentioned, do you see the skill gaps when you hire from the typical pharmacy college or the biotech colleges? Do you see the skill gaps actually in these colleges who are not actually teaching any kind of analytics related? They teach excellent pharmacy or the pharma related subjects and the science and the, but what sort of a skill set gaps you see? Perhaps starting from the Chandni again.
Hi, Kamaji. I think so. It's audible now. My voice
Yes,
is
yes, yeah.
okay. Thanks a lot. I'm sorry for disturbance on that part. Yes. So for campus hiring, although I am hiring from last 7+ years, and I saw lots of gap on that part. Like in terms of analytical skills, so there is a lots of thing that is lacking right now. If you hire a fresher from the campus, so the first thing is that you have to inbuild that culture of the corporate, like you from the very scratch you have to make them learn like what exactly the corporate is all about. So training is the another part. The first thing is that in terms of their personality, where the things are going on. Apart from that, yes, if I say, then some people have a very good theoretical skills, but analytical skills are lacking, like IQ is lacking nowadays. I see most of the, if you go for the premier institute, there are few candidates who can come up with that. But if you're going with the average institute, we see that lots of people have a very less number of analytical skills. They are good with the numbers, they are good with the percentage, but yes, the things which the company wants, that has been lacking there on that part. So internship is one of the things which I majorly feel that one should be added, and people should come up with that. It should not be in terms of certification only, but yes, in terms of learning the things what exactly the corporate want. We do have a very less number of people in the pharma. If you see that all around everyone knows everybody, so all the candidates know each and every company, all the HR knows each and every candidate. So that is one of the things, like we have given offer from one company, as Pooja was telling, the same kind of things, offer shopping. So there is a 3 months of gap on that part, and people are coming from one industry, they are going on another industry. So that is one of the things, because we do have a very handful of people who are coming with that capabilities and everything on that part. So yes, that is one of the major challenge, because um, we are not growing the people on that set of skills and everything on that part. So if such kind of this small organization come up with making the learning the things on that part, that will make really the industry and the HRs to be hired good people on that part. So one of the major part is that very handful of person with few capabilities, and few are like on that part, so make them learn on that part. So that I majorly feel in hiring process.
Thank you. Thank you. And Varsha, on the campus hiring and what kind of skills you will be looking at from the campuses if you hire?
Yes, Kavalji. So first of all, I would like to say that we are hiring from campus to group them as consultants ultimately. So the moment, I mean, even though they are freshers from the campus, we are not kind of compromising on any of it. The first look is wherein the first search itself begins with the consultant in the mind. So so to just to describe the overall quality of a consultant, who is a consultant for this industry, I would say we strongly feel that they need to have two things. One is the right analytical mindset and problem solving approach. I mean, they need to have these two skills in them. Because ultimately they will be providing solutions to the clients, right? However, I mean, at whatever level they are at, but still they will be providing some amount of solutions. So to have this, I feel one should definitely have a good analytical background or analytical capability in them, because if you are because the projects that we deal with, every project, be it qualitative or quantitative, they all have some amount of data in it. Okay, and the data crunching is part of your job. It could not be that serious, it could not be that heavy, but still you will have to day in and day out work on data. So that requires you to have Excel skills minimum, right? And nowadays that has transitioned to Power BI and Tableau and whatnot. But however, that is not what even looking at. But at least Excel is what we definitely want them to learn let them be at least the intermediate level and then come and join. So that would make a lot of that will improve their overall image, and that will also give them a good boost to get started. And second being, yeah, if you are from a healthcare background, well and good, you can pick up very faster and get started. But if you're not from a healthcare background, the world is moving faster, so they as well pick up, learn from the industry, pick up what the needs are, what the gaps are from the client side, and get that business acumen in them, and get started a little quickly. Because honestly, now with the amount of projects that are coming in, the business that has improved, the demand that's there from client side, I don't see that much of training is happening also in any of our companies. There is a lack of good amount of training that we that's happening. So I think these two are the main ones, the analytical skills and the solutioning skills, problem solving skills.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ahana, from your views on campus hiring and the skills you look for people from the campus hiring.
Yeah. So me, Nitin, Pooja have been with Pharma, and we have conducted a lot of campus interviews in 2020. That was pandemic year, so transitioning from insight interviews to online interviews, right, virtual. So we actually were very keen of looking at three things: soft skills, a good communication skills, because as Chandni rightly mentioned, even if you're hiring an analyst, you're grooming them to become consultants, correct? So having good soft skills, technical skills like Excel intermediate definitely has to be there. Now, what we saw is candidates are coming from pharma and other colleges, industries, functions also, like biotech, wheat chemicals, right? They are able to get through the process. They are able to apply themselves. So we have to broaden our scope of, entrant requirements also, not just domain specific. And what I also saw that a lot of times when we are shortlisting people, we are having a plethora of skills being shown in the resume. So they are like, okay, we know data analyst, we know how to do random tree, we understand decision intelligence, we understand, SQL, we understand Java. So they're like throwing all the terminologies there. But what is the application of it? That knowledge is, a gap between the candidate also. So they are just trying to show that, yes, we have technical skills, but what application of technical skills is a missing factor. So understanding that, coming from the, having some kind of program that actually makes these students understand, because coming from pharma background, they will have a lot of, core pharma knowledge, but those are also being having placements in core pharma companies. But pharma analytics is a different functionality, different demand altogether. It's not just core functionality of your having pharma knowledge, but also business acumen, also application of data, also understanding that you have to work long hours and you have to give yourself. So getting this kind of, like she said, grooming them to become corporate ready. So that is something, if you want to see this kind of skill in campus, you're more than happy to hire them at a good package. So that's what I feel that, that can be an offering.
Thank you, Anna. I think you rightly said the CVs are being inflated. I call them the inflated CVs. And I think thanks to job portal services, they charge some money and they write CV actually for the students which they don't even understand. So they end up paying some money to the job portals, and job portals are helping them in writing the CV. They're not actually helping them, the writing CVs for them. And that is, I think, going against, because the job portals will make it look nice. They will fill it very well with all the possible keywords. But when you HR or the operations, the business teams, when they interview them, then they are unable to speak those points. And
they can stand.
Yeah. Dr. Nitin, your views on this actually, and you have done a lot of this. And,
Yeah. So as Pooja and Anna rightly said, so we have been part of a lot of interviews, and actually, when I guess I had few connects with Varsha even long back when they were also recruiting for people from PDS background or MBBS background like that. So I still remember having those conversations, and we used to have a long conversation because we could not find the right candidate, because although they are from the health background, we were missing a lot of things. So even when I joined this industry, so coming from a healthcare, for me it was very difficult coming in this analytics world and all. But because I had this experience of management, some business because of my work ex earlier, and then once I joined in, the inquisitiveness I had. So one of your points, which you rightly say, the pool. Okay, yes, the pool is small, and I know it might be a stretch, but I think that as a HR, when you guys, when you go actually the interviews, so you have a lot of interactions with the top management people of the colleges and etc. Wherein we might have to guide them and tell them that okay, this XYZ part is required in the curriculum, because as you rightly said, even people coming from pharma background, the way they are taught is only regarding product management. They are not taught about anything from the consulting perspective. So even if they are coming from pharma, they are not knowing anything about what we are doing. So although they have the industry knowledge or have the drug knowledge, etc., but they are actually in a way directly not, we cannot use them directly. We need to train them. And as Varsha said, so there is a lot of I would say lacuna in the training aspect as well. So if not the colleges, then the companies might have to do that for the initial few months, train them to the actual requirement. Okay. And at the same time, we need to also, I would say that this is also I've seen a lot in the last 3 years. Uh, During recruitment and also once they come in, we need to also think of what exactly domains within the consulting we have. Okay. So when we are talking about people taking from healthcare background, and if we are putting them into advanced analytics, commercial analytics, or any of the particular domain, it's going to be difficult for them because they are not from that technical background. But if we put them into secondary, primary market research, CI, chart audits and all, there they can do wonders, because at the half of the knowledge what they have done in their graduation is being used there. And I would say like getting the technical on Excel is fine. You need to know Power BI, etc. You once you come into the industry, you can learn. You have multiple platforms to do that online and etc. So that is something which we can do, and that is why during our campus we used to see always who has the heart to actually learn. It's not whether you already know it. It's about who has the heart to learn it, and that is what we always try to gauge it. So that is one thing I feel that we need to do. We need to channel people who are coming in correctly and use whatever knowledge they have previously and put them into those domains, and then build them as a consultant or as whatever we feel. So otherwise it's going to be very challenging, and that is why we see a lot of attrition also happening. People even in one company, they are like, they see that okay, I'm not good at example forecasting, I can be good at CI, but he or she is not going there. Then they feel that okay, I'm getting a CI opportunity somewhere, they will directly jump. We need to, at the same time, the way I guess in some most of the companies, the way the inflow is the same as the outflow. So I guess that is also something we need to think of, because when we are working, it's very difficult. Like now, since the companies are also training, they have started training, and you are investing, as Pooja said, we are investing a lot in the training time, etc. But if he's not there with us for a long duration of time with any companies, that becomes difficult for us. So there are multiple, I know there are multiple challenges for you guys, and I guess for HRs it's more difficult than business analytics itself right now to get the right people. So I guess I know it's a tough job for you guys, but there has to be some kind of a connect between the educational front, the HR company, because you are the flag bearer for the company when you go to the colleges and etc. So we need to kind of build that bridge and have that properly flowing through the system itself. Just like so if we go back few years, it's a similar thing happened with engineers and MBA when they were getting in. So it's the same thing which is happening right now, and we see a lot of medicals like us, doctors also coming into this. We obviously don't have any Excel knowledge and all because we never were used to it. But yes, so that some kind of channeling has to be done, and I guess you guys will be expert at this to understand how to do that. But yes, that would be my point on these
Thank you.
campus.
Pooja, what is your final takeaway on the campus?
Absolutely. I'll just highlight something that I've learned about Ahana and Nitin over the last couple of years. All three of us, me, Ahana, and Nitin, we come from life sciences background as a core study area. And then we have moved to the business side of it, right? So, and we have done recruitments, campus recruitments also. So for us to first understand the skill set requirement, it was not a challenge. But when we went to the campuses, there is a large gap between what we are expecting and what we are getting at the end of the day. Now, there are technical skills or bookish knowledge that is given at the campus level, which, of course, I'm not the right person to judge what is the education system like. But what is missing is there is no proper or formal training provided at the campus level to make them corporate ready, whether it's from the understanding of business management, whether it's understanding the soft skill, whether it is understanding the business core business itself, right? People are learning at a very superficial level. There is no deep-rooted knowledge that is being given to them at this point in time. You go to any colleges, you go to any subject matter for that case. Um, Second, what I have seen is whenever these training programs are introduced also in the colleges, they are not well evaluated. There is absolutely no understanding in terms of what the corporate is wanting versus what you are giving their students. Now, hiring from pharmaceutical colleges who have the understanding, the students have the understanding, versus even hiring from top-notch universities and colleges in India. And I'll be discreet and say IIMs and IITs, right? Now, the talent pool is amazing. The people are very intelligent. Obviously, there is a reason why they are working with, why they are studying in these universities and colleges. But even for somebody who's as intelligent as them, it's very important to have the core knowledge, which is the pharmaceutical analytics knowledge. Now, this nobody is ready to give because they themselves don't know what this knowledge is. Unless and until a person comes to an organization, reads the harsh reality, okay, I have to understand this, I have to do this, I have to execute it this manner, well, it's too late. Whatever trainings also you're giving within the organization when a person gets onboarded, probably it's not the right training that you're giving to a fresher versus a lateral person, right? That training also needs to be very pinpointed. You exactly need to know during that training what exact skill set is he or she going to come with at the end of this training process. Whether a person is going to be a forecaster, whether a person is going to be a Power BI person, whether a person will be, in CI, whether a person will be doing chart audit. So you have, as an organization, you also have an obligation to help a person understand their skill sets, especially when it comes to campus hiring. And finally, because these students are very, very new to this entire concept, they themselves are very scared to ask questions. Now, that is exactly the barrier, right? And that needs to have, you need to shuttle those barriers because if you don't ask, you don't know. People are way too busy. There are multiple projects, people are working on multiple projects. Their managers would not have the right amount of time to help them understand because they themselves are, pulling all-nighters and pushing themselves for probably 12 to 14 hours a day. So where is this person going to get their knowledge from? Who is the knowledge provider? Who's the training provider at the end of the day? So there is a huge gap analysis which most organizations or universities fail to understand before they want to onboard a fresher. At the end of the day, like Nitin said, there is a certain level of frustration of he or she is not able to perform. They take it up to themselves and they say, probably I'm not meant for this field. That probably is not right. Correct. I mean, he or she was not given the right opportunity at the right place with the right training. That is the reason why you see that there is one of the highest attrition rates in business analytics when it comes to the pharmaceutical companies. So, rightly said, the inflow and the outflow is actually at the same rate. If you're bringing 10 people, you're losing 20 people. So again, it boils down to that, point zero. What are we doing to train our workforce better?
Excellent, excellent. I think a lot of takeaways today from all of you. I think it's been brilliant session, and I can share some of my experiences from the past. I came into the clinical research industry in the year about 2004, And that time, the industry just started growing, the clinical trials in India. And the new regulation came in 2005, which saw the major, influx of the pharmaceutical companies getting into the clinical trial, global clinical trial companies. Suddenly, there was a similar situation, what we are seeing today in analytics. We saw this in the 2005-6 time in the clinical trial space. Uh, Less people, suddenly more salaries are being paid. People, the titles growing very fast, designations growing fast, the salaries growing super fast. And I think at that stage, the organizations like us and some other sort of counterparts in the industry, we work towards building the workforce, and I think that's where we are as a Cliniminds currently contributing, and we have excellent program in place for the pharmaceutical business analytics, absolutely focused program. The problems which you have addressed today, the challenges and the opportunities which you have addressed today, we are actually covering all these in our standard 6 months program. We have weekend program where we train largely working professionals, some freshers, but people already with 1 or 2 year experience. One of the things when we bring in people into this program, we give them very good counseling about the career in this opportunities in this sector. So when they take up the program, they join with a very clear mind that yes, we want to actually get into this sector. Now they are not something who are experimenting. Perhaps yes, you may still find about 5% odd who may still decide not to pursue the sector eventually, but at least 95% are sure to get into this sector. So one thing is the experimentation level reduces. Second is the skill set. We impart excellent sort of a skill set. We have excellent group of trainers from the industry with that background of 10-15 years into that space, and we train them into these areas of analytics, all the CI forecasting, HER, market research, Salesforce analytics, Excel skill set, all these other Power BI and other, so that they become ready for the. So, and I think we'll continue to work. We have a lot of takeaways from today's interaction with this brilliant group. And last question: how do you see the hiring trends? Probably Pooja, starting with you itself, and hiring trends over the next 3 years.
Yeah. So I was just, sort of browsing and understanding where the pharmaceutical analytics industry is going to be. So if you look at pharmacovigilance, it started with like some $1 million industry, and now in 2021 it grew to about 14.8 billion, and it is estimated to grow to 21 billion by the end of 2022 itself. There is going to be a lot of tech advancement when it comes to digitalization and data handling, right? So you are looking at multi-billion-dollar industry, and you are looking at people, you are looking at projects. Imagine what it is going to be 3 years down the lane. I mean, 2024, it's going to be a boom, and we are not yet at the peak. Okay, there is, if you are looking at the graph is still going like this. It has not come to the peak, and it is not going to plateau anytime soon. So I think from that hiring perspective, there is going to be absolutely no end to hiring. However, what I feel is the organizations, companies, whether small or big, they should focus on the right skill set, the right attitude, the right emotional quotient. The right candidate will definitely be a part if you give that kind of conducive environment. So hiring definitely is not going anywhere. It is going to be one of the biggest, performing areas when it comes to an organization. It is going to be one of the busiest departments, even in the next 3 years or the years to come.
Yeah, you guys are hard to reach always. Ahana, your views on the hiring over the next 3 years, trends, how do you see it?
Like Pooja rightly mentioned, right? We are going to see a up growth of the same trend. as well as, the CAGR is over 20.5. So the demand is going to be huge. The pharma companies, the HRs are going to be awake at night, just thinking about how to get the right talent and, the strategy between campus versus lateral versus training and retention. So yeah, that will be a huge struggle, and we are going to be busy. All the HR people will surely be, quite busy and strategizing, keeping the wheels turning, right? So yeah, and as an industry, I feel healthcare analytics is getting a lot of exposure in the campuses, in the students across different domains also. So I feel that very soon we'll be having, like Varsha mentioned, individuals coming from engineering and other backgrounds also working in the same. And since we have data analysts and digital transformation has to be done with AI, and patient journeys are being somewhere or the other connected with AI. So that will also have people, engineering background people, and having data analysts and data engineers also come into healthcare analytics. So that transformation is also happening, and it will be, a huge chunk of intake of people coming through. So yeah, I feel that is something we'll see.
Thank you. Varsha.
Sorry. All right. So yeah. So this entire challenge is only going to increase for us. Not going to get any, easy. So I feel the trend is going to be more in the digital field of the pharma companies, because the digital space is the focus is now more on the digital innovation projects from them. The demand and the need is more. So definitely that would be the first, point for me. And then moving on, there is this bucket called Clear the Clutter bucket, which I put the CI, market assessment, forecasting, this kind of work. So this is something which they cannot get rid of, and they'll have to continuously keep giving us this work. So this is a space where we will definitely get work, and we will keep hiring for. So this is a regular bucket you can consider. And apart from that, you can also hire engineers and people from other analytical background for the other digital space, AI space, or whatever it is. And yes, this is going to be challenging and also a very interesting space for the newcomers. All they need to have is a good amount of kind of work already mentioned in their CVs. I would definitely, in the coming years, I wouldn't look at a very blank CV or a very bland looking CV who have just mentioned a B Pharm, M Pharm, or a B Pharm, MBA. No, the trend would be students coming up with already 3 to 4 internships mentioned in their CVs. Students coming with already 2 to 3 personal projects written in their CVs. That would be a highlight for me. Otherwise, a regular student that wouldn't make stand apart, I could feel. So this has to be kind of taken care of.
Thank you, Varsha. This is really very, very helpful. Your sort of an input on the, how do you like to see the CVs? I think that's excellent input. We'll keep it in mind. Chandni, final point, your view on this.
So I see like in coming time, the pharma is one of the industry which will never go down. So it is into the higher side, and Pooja and Versa, everyone says that yes, it will be making more competitive. The market will be more competitive in terms of hiring the talents, and yes, we will be hiring more and more skill sets of people who will be coming with different kind of internship experiences and all, and it will be challenging for the HR as well on that part to hire the correct talent. And as rightly said that in CVs there are lots of things which has been mentioned, but how much the people are relevant, that is the main challenge. Because when we are going to interview the people, that is like in the CV it is already written lots of things, but yes, in interview process they lack everything on that part. So yes, in coming time, I think so all the industries and might be the coming campuses will also come to learn regarding the same, that what exactly the corporate wants. So although right now we have hired from Bates Pilani and all, so we have hired a couple of good people from there, and I believe that the same kind of scenario will come with the other campuses as well. So they are focusing right now, so it will be, I think so, in terms of human resource hiring also we will be coming with a good talent on that part. So nothing is going down. Both the things will be in the upper side.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, absolute last question, and this is the, three-letter word which is constantly hurting us. Please guess this three-letter word which is now becoming slowly a big problem. Pooja, you would like to guess this three-letter word?
A three-letter word. Wow.
Yes, which is hurting us, actually seriously hurting all of us.
Wow.
And how are you addressing? Perhaps all of five of you actually need to talk. Work from home actually now.
Oh, okay.
I thought you were talking about
Yeah.
pay.
Even I thought it's
That
Yes,
should hurt
yes.
us.
Well,
Yeah, pay is already you have addressed, Varsha. The challenges of pay, but this work from home, how are you guys addressing? I think one of the areas we constantly, people, we tell them pandemic is over in a sense, and things are getting normal. Companies, need to see their employees back into the offices, and it's a time that get ready to sort of work from office. And so, how do you guys, starting from perhaps Pura, again, how are you addressing this issue? Are you facing challenge? What is the management perspective on work from home in your industry overall? I'm not going to talk company specific,
yeah.
but how do you, as an industry, handling this?
So I think the last 2 years, since first people were very skeptical in terms of how we are going to manage working from home. That was the question. Now the question is, how do you think I'm going to work from office? I am comfortable in the in the corner of my home. I have established my place. I have sort of marked my territory, and I am giving you that result. Why do you want me to come to office? Is the first question that anybody whom I interview will ask me. Now there are upsides and downsides to this particular process, right? The upside would be you're saving your traveling time. You're not killing that much of time and energy to come to office. Probably and the rains becoming problematic. There is a lot of construction that is going on in metropolitan cities. Uh, from that perspective, you save a lot of time, energy. So your employee is happy. They know that they don't have to go through all of this process time in and time out. Now there is a downside to it is how do you make sure that their productivity is not affected? How do you make sure that they are not taken up another project or assignment with some other organization? Maybe it's obviously full time won't be possible. What about if they become consultants to some other organization or some other institution or whatever it is? How do you keep a touch? Do you keep a check on them uh, through various monitoring software programs, or do you let them do what they want to do because they are still giving the results? Now, this is $1 million question that probably nobody has sort of sieved through to get an answer. But what I feel from an organization's perspective, you should give that kind of liberty to people to show up to work or work from home at different points in time. If there is a possibility that they can come for about 1 to 2 days to office, I think that's a good setup. And how long will you work alone? This is an industry that requires a lot of communication that needs to happen between teams. Like I said, not just between the teams, but also cross team functionality. If you don't know your peers, you will never have that confidence that they are going to help you when you are in need, and vice versa. So I feel a hybrid work environment at this point in time, which most organizations are introducing, is one of solution. But I don't know how long this is going to be sustainable from an organizational point of view, or from a candidate point of view. But I feel that there should be certain leeway given to candidates if you want to come to work or if you want to stay back at home. However, I feel that at an entry level, it is important to have your resources come to work, because that is where their entire career building exercise is happening in the first place. And if it is their first job with you, you have even more moral obligations to teach them the right things in the industry, which they may or may not be able to learn in other organizations. So it is important that you need to do a proper segment study of who should be given that work from home opportunity, why they should be given, until how long they should be given.
Thank you. Thank you. I think, yeah, you're right. And the freshers definitely need to be in office. I think that's the only way they are going to learn. It requires a lot of, interaction with the teams, the learning from superiors, seniors, I think, and their colleagues. Learning the work environment, learning the work culture is only going to come from the working from office. Anna.
Like Pooja rightly mentioned, we had, previously given work from home as a perk. Within the old organization structure before 2020, there was this like, okay, the candidate can work from home at a particular day, just inform your manager. Post 2020 pandemic, we have, the entire transition to work from home. And now work from home is an added advantage, a perk that, HR recruiters are using to attract candidates, because they would like to have the remote culture. And coming from a tier 2 city and getting a package for a tier 1 city is an added advantage to that person. So they prefer this kind of remote functionality, given to them, flexibility. And one more thing that work from home does have a challenge is, if, like Pooja said, if you operate in silos, you will never understand exactly the whole picture of the organization. Even that kind of organization loyalty cannot be imbibed in a person who is just, working as an individual contributor within his own workspace, right? So that has an added, responsibility thrown on the HR and the talent acquisition people to build that kind of culture in a remote environment. So you can have virtual coffee, you can have virtual, kind of parties and virtual dinners and everything thrown. But that is something that the organization needs to realize, how they can capitalize this kind of a work from home in a way that they build, employee loyalty in the company for, these, as Pooja rightly said, freshers need to understand the corporate culture, because they will then go lax. They will feel, okay, I'm in a situation, I'm just given a task and I'm, just doing it and I'm done with my 8 hours. I'm done. That is not a typical life or a day of in a life of a analyst. I'm sure Nitin will be, also saying that it doesn't limit to, 8 hours. You have client calls at late night, and you may have to, just edit a chart and send it across, right? So that kind of, hands-on experience will only come when you realize that there is, more in this job. There's certain demand from the client side, and obviously your clients are virtual. So you had that relations. You do not have a face-to-face client meeting, right, nowadays, because your clients are based out of US, Canada, Japan, Singapore. But definitely, good communication, remote working, etiquettes have to be there alongside, one-on-one interaction. So that's what
Excellent,
I think.
excellent point. I think that colleagues camaraderie, that only comes from, having a chai at the corner shop and having a chai samosa at a corner shop with colleagues, and that short breaks in between. I think those are the office, experiences where you actually unknowingly learn a lot from the colleagues. And yeah,
Absolutely.
Varsha.
Yeah, so like Hannah said, we are in this. We are actually, like, in a very blessed state this year, because the last 2 years we didn't want it. We have got work from home, and everyone have really enjoyed working from home. Most of them, some of them, there are disadvantages, but definitely people have now we have sunk into this situation. We are kind of used to working from home. And this year, I would say, is an year where I look at it this way. This is a just push through and complete 2020 as is kind of a year. We just have to push through. We don't know what we are going to do next year. So last year was good. This year we are pushing through. Next year, how the dynamics is going to change, we really don't know. For that to happen, we really have to be geared up. And I feel the most important aspect that we need to consider here is what is required and how we have performed in the past, and how we are looking at facing the challenges also. For example, the consulting or the entire analytics industry, the for me the delivery holds the highest importance in terms of business. For the business employers, delivery means everything. So as long as your people are there on time and a quality project, I don't think the work from home could be, barrier. So keeping that in mind, we should create just a system or a culture wherein we are throwing good amount of trust and flexibility from an employer side and as well as from the employee side. So they should be able to readily come and say, okay, I can stretch a little bit, I can do this, no matter what, we are going to deliver this. At the same time, we are being a little more flexible and saying, take it to another day off or so, but make sure this is what you get, something of that sort. We have that trust and flexible culture, and things would be taken care, is what I feel. And definitely for the campus kids or the students who are coming in, the hybrid model will work definitely very well. It's just that the kind of the aspects of logistics need to be a little taken care, because since we are hiring pan India, it kind of gets difficult to bring them all to one office. Sometimes for at least organizations like us, wherein we have only one office, it kind of gets difficult to set up a system. So we are, I think we should just need to look at all of this and consider a little, win-win situation for everybody.
Thank you, Varsha. Chandni, your last point.
Yeah. So for me, I think so. Work from home has brought both the positive and negative kind of things. Positive in terms of that you get a time to with your family, and there is a less travel kind of things where you have to do with. But in terms of when it comes to working from office, there is lots of things like, so the thing is that communication is one of the things where lots of times you have to write the emails or something like that on that level, or you have to communicate each and everything over the phone, over the Google Meet or something, Zoom, where you have to connect. So I believe that in coming time the company should be more flexible. Those who required work from home, like although it has already into the pace right now, because most of the companies in the initial phase, when someone wants to move to their home, so there was no such kind of work from home option. Either you have to opt the leaves, the whole. So this, now the company has become such flexible that in case if you require 10 days of leave, on that 7 days might be there is a work from home. So there is no hamper from company side or employee side, both the things on that part. So it comes with both the things, and I believe that those companies who are flexible side, they have a good resources and the people are retaining on that company. So both the things are there on that part. Completely depend upon the employers and the HRs, that how they are feeling on that part.
Thank you. Nitin, Dr. Nitin, last word from you.
Yeah. So yes, so this work from home, I would say, me as a person, I'm absolutely against this work from home. Say. So who already knows this, how we used to interact when we were together.
Yeah.
So I still love that, and as we rightly said that to get the office culture, there is a lot of, when you come to office, there is a lot of cross-functional learning as well. Okay, so with all the topics what we earlier discussed. If we want to actually help the person grow in this industry, learn different things, so he might be in one particular domain, he has to learn. So if he's in the work from home, so the last 2 years we found it very difficult to actually make people work. And because whenever we have any training or any project work, it was very difficult to even gauge in how much the person has understood. Although he might be delivering to some level, it might be some kind of a mechanical work he's doing, but we don't know whether he is apt to actually run it independently later on. Can he be the person, like we can move as a managers, we can move ahead and they can just replace us in that part of work, because it was very difficult for us to gauge in that. And right now we are slowly coming back. So there is hybrid models going on with some companies. In some companies, they're actually forcing them to come back, because and these there were some companies who initially, I guess in 2021, they said that we will obviously going into work from home for life, something like this. But now they have changed they have reversed their thinking, because they could see there is a lot of difference. The growth of a person is also kind of reduced. But at the same time, yes, you cannot force someone. This, I guess, we will transition out of this work from home. At the same time, along with the pandemic, we'll transition out and come back to our pre COVID. That's what I hope, because I like to be in office, obviously. So I hope that happens. But even if not, if this is going to be something of a new norm, we will have to find out ways where Varsha rightly said that give that flexibility to the employee, but at the same time get in what we require, and the employer also needs to understand the same thing. So that's a juggle we will have to do. But hopefully, as she said, let's just pass on with 2022. Let's actually get over with the pandemic with no doubts of a wave or anything coming in, and when we are actually back in the work from office mode, sorry, so that we can be very relaxed and be actually working the way we want to. At the same time, also, I would like to just point out for the previous question, what we talked about, the growth of hiring. So just from my point of view as an industry, what I would say that what we have been also seeing is, as we said earlier, that this is a growing, even this industry is growing. So right now, even from the client, the expectations are like what innovations we bring in. So they are getting into, like, they want, even if it's a normal forecasting, normal CI, they would like to see some AI building. They like to see some machine learning happening, tableaus, dashboards, Power BIs, and everything. So earlier, even if big MNCs used to work only Excel front, now even they are growing. So with this growth, obviously we need to hire accordingly. So I guess, yes, that's going to be a thing which the HRs needs to also look upon, like what is the requirement from the clients right now, and accordingly hire. That would be it from my side.
Thank you so much. With this, I would like to bring this session to an end. And this is, thank you very much for this very, very inspiring session. This is a brilliant group. I think one of the best sort of conversations I had on these issues. And thanks a lot. And we will be in contact again. And maybe in next few months, 3-4 months, whenever you have time, we'd like to get together again. Maybe in the physical world someday, face-to-face event in Mumbai or Pune, wherever feasible. Then. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you. It was
Thank you,
fantastic. Thank you
everyone.
so much, Kamal. Thank you,
Lovely
everyone.
joining. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.